situated, everybody always says, but I thought just to share some of the practices that we hear about as to why maybe, you know, somebody's really succeeded on the gender split, or something's really going on about getting people to progress into National 5, or just whatever it might be. So what's happening in BGE to make that happen. So Steve and I are sort of the compares or whatever, Masters of Ceremonies, and we've got these lovely four here who are going to share some of their experience. So would you just like to briefly introduce yourself? I don't need a huge long experience, but just kind of who you are, where you are, what you're, you know, roughly what level you're teaching, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so I'm Scott Adams. I'm from Glasgow and St Thomas Aquinas. Teach mostly all years, but we've had a huge uptake in third year this past 2 years with some of the changes.
Okay,
so.
Perfect. Pass that microphone on.
No, thanks. I'm Shona McAlpine. I am currently in Stirling High School, about to move to Paisley Grammar. But yeah, I mean, I teach, again, obviously first through to sixth year, but I quite specialise in NPAs, and cyber security as well, apparently. So, yeah.
Yes, I'm a Ryan trainer. I'm at Dunfermline High School. We're teaching 5 years now, and we've seen a really large uptake in our third year cohort, especially in the girls' side. We went from about 10% to 25%, which is good numbers. And also our games and classes booming. That's my NPA, but not quite cyber.
Hi there, I'm Marie-Claire Mitchell from Mearns Primary School in East Renfrewshire. This will be coming up to my 20th year at the primary school, but myself and my colleague Ben, head teacher, and another member of our staff are here tonight. So if there's anything at all primary-wise and the kind of things we're doing, we've got a very bespoke programme called Mearns Masters, in which coding and computational thinking and computer science is really key. So happy to share a primary perspective this evening.
Thank you. And just to say that most of this team have just stepped in at the last minute today, as we had some issues with the people we had talked about beforehand, which is why it says this is a, what did I say, sort of on the spot group. Yeah. So I don't know if any one of you would particularly like to start us off with any observation you have about maybe something, this is, as I say, very informal discussion, something that you think you might have done that is having a good effect. And then go for it.
So my PT is a business teacher, but she wanted us to quite aggressively go after the girls because the numbers of girls before was like, some years it was actually 0, and then she arrived and was like, we can't be having this.
When you say it was 0, do you mean 0 going into National 5?
So this was before my time, but yes, I believe kind of all beyond S3 years was normal was 0 girls. Yeah. So we went about and got quite a lot of funding from, I want to say, Digital Extra, and we've been running a girls' club, and in classes, especially me, because I think I can get away with it, I've been quite aggressively anti-boy, because like most of, like our department, there's 2 male computing teachers, so I'm, in a jokey way, very aggressively pro-female, and that's worked out really well. Our girls' club had, across 2 sessions, like 20 girls coming at it all the time, and we've now got, like, in third year, it's 30% girls, so in your own fun way, I think it's okay to, if you want to increase the number of girls, like, be really quite aggressive about it, in a loving kind of way, but like jump in with both feet. Don't try and like, oh, I've got 2 posters of girls on the wall. Like, no, like go around and say like, we don't want the boys in the room. Come on, why aren't the girls here? Like, I think being quite aggressive has worked well for us.
So I think what we thought we might try is to see whether anyone had any thoughts or questions on each piece of input from the floor, and just see where that takes us. And if that doesn't work, we'll try another approach. Does that seem reasonable?
See, for your third year classes, how many have you got just now?
Yes, we've got 2 classes. Both classes are like 16. So my class is 8 girls and 5 boys. The other class is just boys because we thought we'll keep the girls together as like an army.
that's in S3.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a significant improvement on the none in S3 that you
Yeah, huge. Yeah.
What about your content in S1 and S2, where every pupil, I presume, gets some input that they from the department as part of your S1 and S2 curriculum? Is there anything you've looked at in terms of the curriculum that it makes maybe it more appealing to girls to do the subject?
Yeah. So I rewrote our web design course to not just chase Nat3 standards, which is what it was chasing before, because like a Nat3 website's black and white, and that's hideous and boring and really uninspiring. So we're now teaching CSS, but not necessarily assessing it, because the school still wants us to hit like Nat3 standards. So we're doing that, but we're also making pretty websites. And this is not me suggesting that girls like pretty websites, because I think everyone likes a pretty website. So it's way more engaging for everyone. And this is perhaps a stereotype, like a lot of girls are more creative, so letting them see that web design is actually a creative industry and not a really boring code-based industry, which obviously it is at Nat 5, but we'll skip over that. It means whether you are enjoying the code or you're enjoying the creative side of web design. This new course I've done at S2 is about that, but it's also all about women who go into space as the kind of the content I'm putting on the website. It's about dogs and women in space. And I think everyone either likes dogs or women scientists. So, you know.
Can I, since we're talking about the girls, can I throw in my kind of tuppence worth? Because those who know me know I'm an extreme feminist, like yourself, so I'm very aggressive for the girls. We did, in Stirling High, what we did was a few years ago, we kind of stopped, because in general, it had been years since we'd properly changed the curriculum. So we decided just to do a full rehaul, whatever the word is, it's been a long day, and just started again, essentially. So we built in web development properly. So they're doing CSS in second year and things. We're talking about the stuff that you do in National 5, etc., but making it more open and more fun and more free. So, I mean, my school tried to get me to do like Nat 3 stuff, and I kind of laughed at them, and I'm not even doing Nat 4 stuff, mate. It's like we do, so in third year, we actually do the web development MPA in third year by that point, and that gives them a qualification, but it gives them freedom to have fun and explore a little bit. But we also do Python in second year, so we do proper Python, but we make it not about what they need to do to pass, but about playing a little bit. So we give them the basics and they build on that. Now, I'm sitting here going, oh, this is what we do, and that's how amazing we are. We are at usually around 50% at third year of girls. But I think what I'm wanting to say is it's not necessarily about a curriculum. Yes, you need to refresh your curriculum and think about it. But quite honestly, you've listened to him saying, we went out and did stuff, and we talk to the kids and we get them excited and we give them a space. Cyber First Girls is a fantastic example. Girls Code Clubs, if you're wanting girls in, brilliant chance to actually pull them in. I'm pretty sure you'll be similar. It's giving them a safe space. And actually, see, when you change the whole curriculum to, as you said, work for the girls, you bring everyone in. Because you're neurodiverse, start to go, actually, I relate to the quiet space, or I relate to safe, or I relate to colour. Do you mean everybody becomes excited about the course when you start opening it into something more interesting? If that makes sense. I'm talking rubbish, really, to be honest. Someone tonight.
You said freedom, and I really like that. And I think that ties in with something Mary was saying in the previous session. What does freedom mean?
So, we get them to, so I'll show them, I'll give them stuff on the basics of web development, for example. But what they do in their web development, and I'm not talking about then they spend 3 hours trying to Google images that they want to put on their website. I will often give them things. Or if we're doing Python coding, for example, we give them the basics. And then we maybe give them little projects, we give them a range of little projects, but we're not making it about, you must do this particular topic and do these particular things. See if a kid goes off and creates madness, and that's brilliant, because they're going off and, I'm not going, this is what I need them to learn. I give them basics, and then first and second year, then they can experience and play with it. So by the time they get to Nat 5, they've had fun with it and they can see the context, if you like. So it's a bit.
How early do you all think you can get children to be, you know, independently creative and coming up with their own stuff and actually coding it? You know, I mean, when I say coding, you know, actually
Probably that early, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to talk, and then please jump in as well. So I've taught, so I'm Mearns Primary School, and we teach a progressive approach from primary 1 and some of the nursery children even, right through to primary 7. Like you said, it's very play-based, tinkering, and we have moved from like that physical computing side of like bbots, directional language, just kind of exploring, teaching each other to be a robot and following through instructions right through to Scratch Junior to Scratch, and some of them are now in P7, like they are using Python, like of their own accord. Our bespoke curriculum, Mearns Masters, does have 4 pathways. Coding is one of them, and I don't want to kind of repeat too much of what I said in my previous our previous session, but it is a problem-based kind of approach to learning, where the children are encouraged to identify a problem either in their school, their home, their local community, or a wider global context. And I'm also really interested in a lot of the kind of link to the children's rights, like if they do have, as children are showing signs of eco-anxiety, well, don't just stop at thinking that you're just one child in one school. No one's too small to make a difference. Why don't you identify a problem? Is it turtles and seahorses being affected by marine pollution? Let's come up with something that could be solved by code. Is it a litter picking app? Is it a plastic rubbish monitoring system? And yeah, back to the original question, we're doing that from primary 1 through to P7. I've got primary 5, and I'm more than happy to talk to anyone about the projects that they have come up with, but I'm particularly interested in the gender side of things. I do run dress codes in our primary school, which was originally and completely inspired by Tony Scullion and also Sarah Jenkins at St Ninians and her amazing girls. They became our role models. Those high school girls then came to work with our younger girls, and those girls, even when I had them in P4, are now in S1 and talking about choosing computer science. If there's not a girls coding club, they're going to set one up. You should definitely check out their wee video, it's awesome. And I noticed that giving them that kind of safe space, kind of once you took them out of the mixed kind of primary school environment or class, giving them a story kind of line approach or a humanitarian context or an environmental context, they just came to life. I'm really big on role models, and that just kind of constant kind of passing on experience as well, and just getting older girls coming to speak to the younger ones. Like that, we had an awesome girl from St Ninians. I think she now works with Barclays, but she came and spoke to our I think they were P5 at the time, maybe P6, and it was very much like she was showing them, like, here's my desk, this is what my desk looks like. And you could see the girls like saying that they were expecting to get a kind of, here's what coding looks like in a big bank, but she was like showing them the kind of, just kind of making it real to them and accessible, and just giving them that opportunity to say, I could be you, I could be like you when I'm older. So I'm really into that. But back to the original question, as early as you like.
I think just to add on to that as well, like, so we were quite fortunate that our numbers have changed quite dramatically the past couple of years. That I think when I first started, we had big classes, which was great, but then we were getting to 4th year and it was very disengaged, generally quite boisterous. And I don't mean by boys, I think girls as well. It was the wrong, we'd established the wrong type of people who picked the subject. They felt they were almost like bait and switched, almost. We had these really great 1st and 2nd years. We had Lego kits, we had Sphero, there were all these amazing things, which I'm sure we've all got hidden away in cupboard somewhere, but they weren't being properly linked to the curriculum. And we were getting a lot of pupils saying, this is just the best thing ever. And what was happening was, but these poor boys and girls who were going, well, maybe computing's not for me. Actually, computing was for them. We would actually push them away by trying to make it too fun. We can talk about anything passionately, and we can sell that to the pupils. We don't need to hide behind robots and Lego kits and things like that. These are amazing tools if they're used properly, and I'm not suggesting don't use them. But kind of like we said here, go after the problem. So if you're saying, okay, we're not getting enough of this type of pupil, we're not getting enough girls, not getting this, go and speak to those pupils and say, why haven't you picked it? And this isn't just into 3rd year, this could be all the way up for the course. The feedback we got was, A, it's too busy, class is too much. Like what we thought of really high energy is great, it's not great for everyone. We don't know if we're doing well because we don't test as much, because we just do Lego, we're doing really well. But actually in English, we got 10 out of 15 on that test. we got 7 out of 10, we got this. They've got hard numbers. So when they're sitting with mum, dad, parent, whoever's making the course choice with them, they go, that's fine, I'm glad you're enjoying that, but what subject are you doing well in? I know that's what I'd be asking my kid. So if I'm sitting there going, we've not got a lot of hard data to give them in computing, that I think's been really helpful. And that doesn't mean implement testing in 2.5 minutes. Not at all. Checkpoints, tiny little progress checks, it could be summative, it could be format, it doesn't make a difference. But if those boys and girls can walk away and go, I'm doing really well in that subject and here's the proof, I think your numbers will skyrocket like ours. You might hit a weird bump where you almost like, oh, we've lost people, that's okay. Just kind of try and push forward and the right kids will come through, and I think that will translate into your late years as well.
I thought I'd just read something out. Sorry, just from one of the speakers who ended up not being able to make it today. I'm unsure exactly why we're making progress with the gender imbalance. I think it's initially our BGE curriculum and the fact that we removed all bias and also tried to make it as engaging as possible for the pupils. We also make a big deal of outside the first dress code, brush challenges. We tried to spot the girls, this is something like you were just saying there, Ryan, we tried to spot the girls in S2, 3 who show potential or interest in the subject and check in with them.
Definitely, yeah.
Making sure they know they're doing well, because I think often people just don't think they're doing well, and it's such a simple idea. Consistency of this over the past few years has led to the current situation as girls are seeing older girls choosing the subject and enjoying it.
And I think, yeah, once you get to a point, you start, they start to feel, because you bring them back down into the classes and back down. And actually, what you're saying there, Steve, when I start to see, I tend to start it most commonly with the Cyber First girls or the live lessons that you're seeing, is that what happens is, if there's some of the, like just, especially the Cyber First girls who shouldn't be doing well, do you know what I mean? You know the ones you go, how did you do so well? I start really dragging them into the department. I go, come and do this, and it's that targeting. And when you start doing, I know we're talking a lot about the girls, but see when your class structure changes. So see when you start to get not just our usual, I love our usual structure, I love our usual kids, they're our bread and butter, they're very important. But see when you start getting other people that can maybe talk to humans into a classroom, and when you start really mixing it up, the classes change, and then other people notice that. And so I think after a few years, you'll see an overall difference. But it's got a lot to do with, I think, the teacher. I mean, I think some of us probably would be, even no matter what you're teaching, if you've got a if you show that passion, I think that's what does make it. And it sounds terrible, but I think the teacher is the biggest influence on this. So it's hard to say that, and then like what is the thing, but I think that is the big difference.
The thing's got to be your thing.
Well,
that's
exactly, yeah.
If your passion comes through.
Can I just quickly, I know I'm trying not to take all this, I have to talk for hours, everyone knows that. But the thing you said about taking the bias out stuff, one thing that we did specifically do with all our materials is I removed all the main, which I think is a great thing, we should do that in the world. I removed all the main from all of our PowerPoints. Now, it wasn't like a, oh, let's just hide the main, because it didn't change boys. It didn't change boys thinking about what was going on in classroom. It didn't change them going, oh, this is not for me or anything like that. It didn't change that. What it did, though, was it was always female technicians that are on the PowerPoints. It's those kind of little things, and making sure that all the pictures around the room. There was one little anecdote, I'm honestly sorry, but I went into a school who was asking me how to get more girls. And he had, I can't even remember who it was, but he had 3 males. It was like Steve Jobs and stuff on, that was the only icons they had in the room. And I'm sitting there going, well, change that, it's the first thing you could do. And it was like 3 white, older men just on that wall, and that was their only icons that all the kids coming through the class could see. Most of the kids don't identify with them. So, but these are all tokenistic little things, I don't know.
No, so I mean, that's all great input. I mean, does any of the here comments?
What are you here for?
Yeah. What about?
Because you were saying why don't you ask a question, Sean? No, so sorry. I thought you had your hand up earlier, and then I talked over you. Sorry.
No, to your question there, what we're here for, we've been struggling with some of our uptake across kind of all levels. To quite low numbers this year. We're just looking to bolster, so first our S3s, but to get that knock-on effect everywhere really.
Yeah, I mean, I think you need to start there. I think that's you get the second years right now. Whatever you do in there, you've got cyber first girls, you've got dress codes, you've got, I know that's very girly things, but cyber first also do loads of other things.
Yep.
There's loads of other Daniel was here from the someone give him a plug, can't remember what it's called. Cyber Skills Live, thank you. So there's Cyber Skills Live, there's loads of fabulous things out there that you can embed in. So I have all of their stuff when I'm doing cyber security. It's all cyber skills, all those wee things. I embed that all in. So it's fun stuff, but it's fun stuff where they're learning. Yeah. And I mean, there is clear things going on in it. So it's not just go play with Scratch. They're actually doing stuff. So hopefully that would then build you up into your third year course. And then it depends on what your third year course looks like. Because if your third year course is then just starting National 5 early, you're going to instantly have problems later on because they're going to get kind of put off. We do the National Progression Award in Web Development in third year, which then sounds like, well, that's a bit boring, they're doing a qualification, but actually we were already teaching Web Development. So what we did was we did the web development, we do the photo editing, we do all those fun things, and then they get a formal qualification, so parents are happy, kids are happy, and then it means that when they come into Nat 5, we've tricked them and they stay because it's too late.
You can also use like Cyber Explorers, the first and second year as well. I mean, that's, once again, it's quite open and shut, it's quite easy, but perfect first and second year, mum, dad, granddad instantly see an early qualification come through the door. You're the first subject. English and maths are there, but now you've got something in computing. And that's theirs. No one's taking that away from them. Yeah, it's an SQF level 4, that's fine. But then that's the stepping stone into you can do computing. Then you can do your MPA, then you can do that. And it's kind of opening that door and just getting early. It is competitive. And I think if we just let the kids go, then they're going to go. Every other subject is going to be aggressively chasing after. And I think that's when you'll see this success, targeting it in primary and really going after it. Here's our problem. Let's speak to the kids who don't take it. I know for a fact every kid that doesn't take higher from that 5 will get, not an interview, but we'll speak to them. It's like, why? And it might just be it's not for them, that's okay. But if there's a reason, they're going, that's not for me. Like, we've got them at some point and we've lost them. You need to figure out, you could do the same thing in second year, or whenever your course choice happens. Is there a reason you didn't pick it? I don't like computing. Well, why? What didn't you enjoy? What did work, what didn't work?
I'm teaching a large kind of school in East End. We have an issue of, I mean, it's probably an issue that most people love to have, but we've got like 18 first year classes, because that's a huge school. So we do that in rotation, so it's a 3-way rotation. So, but they also do subject choices going into second year, and we're one of the ones that gets dropped at some point. But my issue is, how do we get the ones that see us on that third rotation? The first and second rotation, fine, we've had a go at them. Yeah. They're fine. We tend to keep a lot of those. It's how do we bite that third rotation or maybe make those choices straight away?
It may be harder now, but I would say it's your senior pupils. Now, my business teachers, I make them teach Python in second year, right? So that's how much pressure. What we do is we have our senior pupils, and I specifically try and get our female senior pupils into those classes. I don't know if it'd work because I mean that's just us. That's
we actually do have discrete courses, which is good as well. It's a lovely problem to have.
I know. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I don't know if anybody know what you do when you've got a third rotation, and it's. I take it it's like at the end it's at course choice.
Pretty much at course choice. It's only been in 2 weeks, maybe a week or two. To make that choice.
I don't know if anyone's got an answer to that one.
I mean, I've had my 10 weeks.
Every other subject needs twice as much time with kids as us.
Yeah. But I think maybe that's maybe raise that up. That's well, I know.
Yeah. Every year we raise it up. And every year it comes back in our.
Do you know what I would be doing? I'd be in those classes beforehand, getting them doing competitions like Cyber First and all this. I'd be in there chatting to them and pulling them out and doing
first Lego League and things like that. It's just something just to get us in the door.
We do that.
So you going into the first and second rotation when it wasn't computing?
Sneaking in.
Oh, guys, Cyber Advent Challenge is.
Oh yeah, that's another good one.
Boys and girls, like we've got a Google Classroom, and like the number of boys as well as girls, and it's like everyone's in this. It's such a brilliant introduction.
Because we took kind of Sarah Jenkins model using
Yeah.
the senior girls to run
Yeah.
the dress code. And we've kind of done that with a couple of second years as well for our first Lego League, and I kind of overlooked that one. So we're doing those things. It's just that third rotation because they're not seeing the subject. I don't know what they can do with that.
It's just getting your, it's just trying to get your name known, isn't it? And it's even if it's not directly in class, like say with all your extracurricular stuff, but just like bang on the fact this is computing. This isn't just like the technology department. This is computing science. You like this?
Why?
This is what you choose. Yeah.
I think your biggest advocate would be the pupils. If the experience of the pupils is good in the department, then senior management team will listen to what they're saying about that. You know, so again, I think you're right. Get into the class and speak to them, and the pupils will advocate on your behalf to say, we really want more experience of this. It's really, really important. That would be a powerful, I would think, with your senior leadership team to push that.
Do you think it's fair to say, sorry, we're running a little bit over, do you think it's fair to say that computing sometimes does get a bit of a difficult deal in first and second year in some schools? Or, I mean that is definitely an attitude we've picked up for years and years and years, but then does everybody think that about their subject?
I think, and as a computing teacher, I'm a head teacher now, I would say part of the issue for that is the lack of computing teachers. So if you're asking to run a timetable, you really need to do that. And I say you've got, as I say, as practitioners, what we have found in the school, we haven't been able to recruit enough teachers to keep up with the development of the subject in our school. It's going through the roof, the numbers. But what we have done, thankfully, and I think through STACS has been a big support for that, is we now have a mathematician training to be a computing teacher. We have a physicist training to be a computing teacher. We'll have a RNPS teacher wanting to teach computing as of January. She will embark on that programme. And it's about you being creative. And actually the reason they're doing that is because they want to be part of the department because of the experience that not just the pupils have in the department, but the experience the staff have as well. And that really has, at least me with no option when my PT comes to me and says, we need more teaching capability, and that has driven the subject from that point of view as well. But it's not easy and it's difficult to do that. But again, I think it is challenging. There is no question at all. It is challenging probably in every school. But I think it's about being as creative as you can be to promote the subject.
And so we're saying that at the same time, we've got teachers who I know fine well that there's teachers out there who are single teacher departments. They're trying to teach National 5. They're trying to do this. The course changes all the time. They're trying to do all these things and try and get kids excited to come in. And I get that. It's hard in those situations. So, yeah.
I think we're just to finish off and talk about what you were saying as well. I think if time is limited, and that's unfortunate, we can't create more of that. Get into your primary schools if you can. And if you've got, I've not spoken to a single head teacher yet that's went, no, we don't want you in here. Of course you do. It's like, can I come and run a session? And just say, aye, the kids are going to do it. You're not going to do it. Like, we went down, ran a little robotics competition for our feeder primaries. I 3D printed choose computing science little coins, and that was the prize for winning. Absolutely loved it. And then the amount of first years that came up with the little coins like that, is that we've been told to take computer science, but a joke. But it worked before it even came in. They knew that was subject. We were lucky that those primary teachers were very up for it. But if you go to a primary that isn't if you're saying, I'm the subject expert in this, I will happily take half an afternoon, I'd be shocked if you got pushback.
Digital extra funds will help you with these things as well.
Okay, so I think we've just had a snapshot there, and a bunch of interesting things I hadn't thought of before, some of the things you were just saying there, Steve, and definitely we